My dad is the mayor of Golden City, my mom is the CEO of Apex Corporation, and somehow, my roommate, Alex, thinks I'm a dirt poor country bumpkin. It all started when Alex accused me of stealing his phone, demanding I pay him $10,000. As we were arguing, Betsy, the scholarship student I had a crush on, suddenly appeared out of nowhere and handed Alex a property deed. Here, take it. I'll pay for it. Consider it compensation for Lee's therapy, she said, her gaze icy as she gestured toward Alex. Confused, I asked, what therapy? Betsy's lips tightened. You'll get your therapy later, she muttered, glaring at Alex. Back at the dorm, I told my dad about it. He just frowned and said, your friend Betsy is as dramatic as that actress who lives next door, Emily, always with the flair for theatrics. But my mom went ballistic, grabbing a kitchen knife and storming out. Those vixens. First the mother tries to steal my husband, and now the daughter's set on my son. I swore my mom secretly believed they were mythical seductresses disguised as humans, judging by her reaction. I, on the other hand, was distracted by my nearly empty bank account. It was agonizingly close to zero. To add to the drama, Alex, with his sidekick Thomas, stomped back into the dorm. Lee, have you lost your mind? Thomas screeched, shoving me lightly. Are you crazy? I shot back, bewildered. Can't a guy have an empty bank account in peace? Listen, Alex said, folding his arms with an air of disdain, I haven't reported you to the dorm supervisor yet. Consider it me being generous. He held out his hand. Now, where is it? Where's what? I played dumb, knowing exactly what he meant. My phone. The white titanium iPhone 18 Pro Max ETB. I couldn't help but chuckle. I thought your phone was the iPhone 18 Pro Max 2 terabytes. You know, because TB are your initials. I quipped, gesturing to Thomas. Alex's face turned green. Thomas shrieked. You idiot. Do you know how much that phone cost? Alex bought it on release day for $18,000. I feigned a yawn. Can't relate. I got the entire iPhone catalog gifted to me before the iPhone 19 even came out. Alex let out a heavy sigh, trying his best to appear helpless. Let it go, Thomas. He'll never admit it. Then, he looked pointedly at my new phone. You know, Lee, you've always used that clunky old phone. And now, suddenly, my phone goes missing, and you're rocking the same model. Funny how that works, isn't it? I wanted to roll my eyes. I never bothered with phone locks. Why? Because, unlike him, I had faith in humanity. As they turned to leave, Thomas glanced back menacingly. You're playing with fire, Lee. Just wait until we tell the dorm supervisor. You're finished. Panicked, I immediately messaged my dad. Dad, I'm being bullied. Bring mom and come rescue me. His reply was instant. Figure it out yourself. And don't even think about telling people I'm your dad. Apparently, settling the compensation issue for a little incident at my previous school took precedence. You see, I had a tiny accident where I might have accidentally burned down 3 school buildings, which also explained the transfer. I was relieved he hadn't told mom about the real reason yet. Since my dad confiscated my allowance thanks to the accident, all I had left was pocket change. As I considered finding the dorm supervisor and explaining the situation, a commotion outside made me look out the window. Alex had started a live stream, tears streaming down his face. With Thomas as his mouthpiece, he was playing the victim to the hilt, spinning a sob story about how I was jealous of his wealth, making up elaborate lies about how I couldn't afford decent clothes or even takeout for fear of making him feel bad about my financial struggles. The crowd ate it up. Soon, the entire dorm was bombarded with demands to return Alex's stolen phone. People were calling me a thief, a disgrace to the university, demanding I be expelled. Some even started chucking garbage at my window, calling me trash. Then, a cool voice cut through the commotion. Excuse me, how much is this phone? Silence. I saw Betsy walking toward the building, radiating a chill that instantly quieted the crowd. Seeing her, Alex's face turned red. Betsy, don't worry, it's fine, it was just a misunderstanding. I'll sort it out. Betsy nodded curtly, pulling out a bright red book from her bag. She nonchalantly handed it to a flabbergasted Alex. Take it, that should cover it. And Lee, she turned towards me, her expression fierce. Come down here. It's time for your therapy. The crowd gasped. Betsy had just pulled out a property deed, a deed for an apartment in Apex Tower, the most expensive, exclusive apartment complex in the entire city, and casually offered it to Alex as compensation for a phone. And what therapy was she talking about? Was I about to witness Alex getting beaten to a pulp by a seemingly harmless, albeit incredibly intense, girl? The courtyard erupted. Did she just? That was a property deed, right? Apex Tower. I heard those haven't even gone on the market yet. How did she? Alex froze, his triumphant smile replaced by a mask of confusion. See, a fake. Like I said, all for show. Thomas jumped in, regaining his composure. My dad's a real estate tycoon, you know. The Apex Tower project isn't even open to the public yet. Do you really expect us to believe? But no one was listening. Everyone was staring at Betsy, the truth dawning on them. This seemingly average scholarship student casually tossed around property deeds like they were nothing. Who was she? As the murmurs grew louder, Betsy simply said, it's real. My father is William Carter. Dead silence. William Carter. As in the William Carter, the billionaire CEO of Apex Corporation. Now, even Thomas looked like he was about to pass out. I, on the other hand, felt like I had just been slapped across the face with a very confusing, very expensive truth. William Carter lived next door, and my mom hated his guts, along with his daughters. Coincidence? Probably not. Lee, you good? Thomas's voice pulled me back to reality. I snapped out of my daze. Looks like this drama just got a whole lot more interesting. The accusations flew back and forth as things escalated, and we all ended up at the police station. When they confirmed the deed was indeed genuine, Alex and Thomas became the subjects of a very serious lecture about slander and making false accusations. The news of the fake phone theft incident spread through the university like wildfire. Everyone believed that Thomas, in his infinite wisdom, had crossed Betsy, a billionaire's daughter. Spooked by his newfound infamy, Alex was desperate to get back on my good side. He bought me a $20 boba tea, pleading with me to forgive him. It was all Thomas, I swear. I thought you actually stole my phone. Please, Lee, let's forget this ever happened, he whined, making sure our new roommates overheard. Naturally, as soon as I walked away, he switched tactics. I just wanted to apologize. I never meant to hurt him, he sobbed dramatically, clutching his chest. I really valued our friendship. I just wish he cared even a little. Standing outside the door, I couldn't help but retort, you're right about one thing, Alex. I don't care, not even a little bit. That weekend, back at home, I found my dad and decided to voice my concerns. Dad, there's this girl. I need to find out about her father. You know that luxury apartment complex, Apex Tower? Her dad owns a place there. My dad's newspaper rustled. And who might this girl be? He inquired, not looking up. Betsy Lou, I mumbled. Remember that girl from high school I accidentally touched a bit too enthusiastically? Oh, that girl. Emily was telling me the other day. Stop right there. My mother's voice cut in sharply from the doorway, effectively shutting down that conversation before it even began. She shot me a pointed look. Why are you so interested in Emily's business all of a sudden? Later that night, unable to shake off the day's events, I recounted the phone incident and Betsy's perplexing display of wealth to my parents. My dad's response was a deep, contemplative frown. To think, that girl inherited her mother's theatricality. Before he could elaborate, my mom slammed her hand on the table, making me jump. That's it. I knew it, she roared, storming into the kitchen and snatching a butcher knife. That woman. First, she sets her sights on my husband, and now she sends her daughter to seduce my son. Grabbing her arm, I held on for dear life. Mom, put the knife down. We need to make sure she actually is your love rival's daughter first. I could only imagine the headlines if she got a hold of Emily with that knife. Reassured, my mom begrudgingly tossed the knife aside, her fury momentarily abated. But one thing was clear. The Lou women were public enemy number one. I shuddered. They had no idea what they were in for. That night, a clap of thunder jolted me awake. I'd been terrified of thunderstorms ever since I was a kid. My dad always jokingly blamed it on my superiority complex, claiming the heavens were trying to humble me. But deep down, I suspected it stemmed from a deeper-rooted fear of the unknown, of things beyond my control. I peered out my window, a nervous habit. And there it was. The same snow-white fox I'd been seeing since high school, perched on my window ledge. With a grin, I beckoned it closer. The fox leaped effortlessly over the railing and into my arms. As always, I instinctively went for a good head scratch, a habit he wasn't particularly fond of. My dad's aggressive ruffling throughout my childhood had probably left him wary of such affection. What am I gonna do, Snow? I mumbled into his soft fur. My dad says foxes are cunning, deceptive creatures. My mind was racing with anxieties. What if Betsy really was Emily's daughter? Would my life become a soap opera of family drama and thwarted schemes? Sensing my distress, Snow let out a soft whine, nuzzling my hand. His silent reassurance calmed the storm within me, and for the first time that night, I felt a wave of drowsiness wash over me. Holding him close, I drifted off to sleep. The next morning, as I entered the university gates, I saw her. Betsy was standing by the fountain, her hair slightly disheveled as though she'd run her hands through it one too many times. She radiated an aura of, don't even think about talking to me. This wasn't just about the phone, or her sudden reveal. There was something else weighing her down. Steeling myself for potential implosion, I finally worked up the courage to confront her. Betsy, is your mom Emily Lou? Betsy froze, dropping her pen. She whirled around, her eyes wide with surprise. What? No, of course not. She's just a normal, single mom. She stumbled over the words, her voice unusually high-pitched. After that day, the confession count skyrocketed. It seemed like everyone and their brother wanted a chance with the mysterious, potentially single, and most definitely loaded, Betsy Lou. But she rejected each and every one of them, her answer always the same, my heart already belongs to someone else. Hearing those words kindled a flicker of hope in my chest. We were both playing some unspoken game, each waiting for the other to make the first move. Yet, as much as I craved her attention, the warning bells in my head, powered by years of my mom's paranoid rants about Emily's alleged predatory tendencies, wouldn't stop ringing. Meanwhile, Alex was the picture of obedience, at least when I was around. Word had gotten around about the Lou's attending a business forum at our university. I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for Alex rambling nonstop about impressing my father and scoring a job at Apex Corp. On the day of the forum, Alex showed up looking like he was going to meet the queen. I, on the other hand, was still rocking yesterday's hoodie. Aren't you gonna dress up? One of my roommates asked, puzzled by my indifference. Why? It's not like I'm interviewing for the role of William Lou's long-lost heir or anything, I shot back sarcastically, adjusting my earbud. From the corner of my eye, I saw Alex roll his eyes. He scoffed, Mr. Daddy's chauffeur will be here any minute, better act respectful then. Ever since the Boba Tea peace treaty fell apart, his disdain became less subtle, less frequent, but way more venomous whenever he bothered to acknowledge my existence at all. The forum was a colossal bore, a symphony of business jargon that sailed straight over my head. Just as I was about to nod off, a tap on the shoulder pulled me from my stupor. It was Robert, my dad's personal driver. He handed me a bag overflowing with homemade snacks and enough juice boxes to fuel a small preschool. I knew without asking that it was my mom's doing, a care package disguised as a healthy snack assortment to impress the business elite. Because that's my mom, equal parts thoughtful and utterly extra. The moment Robert left, Alex materialized next to me, radiating amusement and just a tad too much judgment. Daddy still sends you care packages, he snorted. Honestly, your whole I'm a regular guy despite being filthy rich act is getting old. We get it, your dad is a chauffeur with impeccable taste. His snarky remark barely registered. Speaking of dads, what does your dad do for a living? I asked casually. I was curious if the answer was supervillain planning to take over the world, what with his dramatics earlier this week. Alex puffed up his chest, his moment to shine had arrived. My father, he announced, his voice dripping with false modesty, is Lord Reginald Chesterfield III, the Earl of. My brain screeched to a halt. Lord Chesterfield, that Chesterfield. It was almost comical. For weeks, I had agonized over Betsy's connection to Emily Lou, a formidable foe in my mother's eyes, unaware that the real threat was sitting right next to me, cloaked in mediocrity, his every word echoing in my ears like a very posh time bomb. You see, Lord Chesterfield III wasn't just any lord, and Alex wasn't just a regular rich kid. He was British royalty, an heir to a ludicrously old, ludicrously wealthy, and unfortunately, ludicrously influential family back in jolly old England. My mother despised the entire Chesterfield clan. Say that again, I muttered, the reality of the situation sinking in like a lead weight. Alex smirked, enjoying his moment of triumph a little too much. He probably expected shock, maybe a touch of jealousy. Instead, I started to laugh. I wasn't sure whether to be impressed by his dedication or terrified for the world as a whole. This, my friend, wasn't just about a phone anymore. This was a whole new battlefield, with considerably higher stakes. My mom was going to lose her mind.